What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is gonna be Family or Fiance Season 2, Episode 2. Now look, this episode kind of irritated my soul a little bit. We have Alexis and we have Danley. Now, a couple of reasons why this episode irritated my soul. Because we saw something that a lot of times we don't know what to put. We don't know how to label it. What we saw in this episode was we saw a lot of prejudice. We saw some ignorance. We saw some bigotry. Okay? So let's talk about it. So the episode, we have Alexis, we have Danley. They met in 2011, which I thought was interesting because we're in 2020, correct? This was filmed in 2019, so I'm going to give them 2019. So 2019, 2011, carry the 1, subtract 0, whatever, 8, right? She's 25, he's 27, or she might even be younger than that. That means that they have been dating since this girl was in her teens, like mid-teens. They've been engaged for 3 years. That already kind of told me a lot. She was saying that he was her first real boyfriend. That might be an issue. But they met at the DMV. They dated. He broke up with her because she was insecure and crazy. That's her. That's a quote from her, not him. I was insecure and I was crazy. And she said that she used to call him like 200 times a day. Do you have a job? Or in school? Or do anything with your life? How do you even get 200 phone calls in a day? And then she wouldn't even let him tell his side of the story. She kept cutting the man off while he was trying to talk. That said a lot to me before we even got any deeper. From her side of the family is her mother, her grandmother, her uncle. Now, her grandmother is a pastor. From his side of the family is cousin, best friend, and a friend. And I thought it was interesting that he didn't have like a parent, grandparent, uncle, whatever. All of the people there for him were like people on his, like his peer group. Now he's Catholic. Okay. So here's where we get into what I was saying about prejudice, whatever. Her grandmother, she made a comment about, well, my grandmother doesn't like it because, we're Christian and he's Haitian. He's Catholic and we're Christian. I grew up Catholic and I'm Christian. Been Christian my whole life. She made a comment later on in the episode, well, I pray every day. Again, born Catholic, raised Catholic, I prayed every day. More than once. So, I was already thrown off because I was like, all right, you clearly are ignorant. Because what I think the better statement to make would have been, I am saved and he's not. Because being Catholic, you are Christian. Like, it's not you're Catholic, you're Christian. Like, we'll get back to that because that comes up a couple of more times. Anyway, so they meet with Tracy and they get a chance to talk to Tracy and everything. And, they're laying out what some of the issues and concerns. And one of it is her insecurity. He has all the passwords she has all of his passwords to his social media, his phone, yet she still, goes to work and the first thing she does is sit down and goes through all of his stuff, like to check to see if he's doing something he's not supposed to be doing. She said that she's never caught him cheating on her. So what that says to me is that you're the guilty one. Because if you're that preoccupied about what he's doing, it's because you out there doing something you ain't supposed to be doing. That's how I take it. That's my 2 cents. And later on, it comes up later on that maybe she is. Like, she deletes her text messages. Like, she leaves the room sometimes when she's on the phone with certain people. See? You can't have the passwords to all of my stuff and then think that you get to walk out the room and have private conversations. Oh, no, ma'am, no, sir. No, you don't. So, They're not going to play 20 questions this time. Thank you. They're going to play Tower of Truth, which is basically the same thing, but it's done in a different way. And it's a little, so they switching it up a little bit. Basically, it's Jenga blocks that they get the giant Jenga blocks. If y'all ever played the giant Jenga game, and they get the right questions, and then as he goes through the Jenga game, then he gets to answer the questions that's on the block or whatever. And then her task is that she has to cook dinner, which that's one that they use a lot. However, this one does have a little bit of a twist. She's going to be cooking Haitian food. And she is not happy about cooking the Haitian food because I think that maybe somewhere in her mind she feels like that's going to make her Haitian. I don't know. But she is not excited to be cooking any Haitian food anyway. So they have the, you know how they always go when they have the blessing ceremony. I mean, not the blessing ceremony, but the why don't you think we're ready to get married ceremony at the beginning. And that is where, oh, I keep yawning. Excuse me, I keep pausing it because I keep yawning. I don't know why. I'm not sleeping. So, that's when the grandmother makes the comment that, well, he's Haitian and Haitian are evil people. Or the devil's people, or something she said. And I was like, wow, that is a really ignorant statement to make. And a very disrespectful statement to make in front of someone who is Haitian. Why not say, I'm looking forward to getting to know you because I don't know a lot about the Haitian culture. And what I've heard is ... Because for you to make a statement and then Alexis is going to say, well, I mean, y'all do voodoo. And he was like, a very small population a very small part of the population does voodoo, and basically you need to do your research and figure that out. But the grandmother, she has some stuff with her too, and I don't want to be disrespectful about nobody's grandmother, but hold on a second. So I don't know where I left off, y'all. I'm sorry, but. So the 20 questions, they got to do 20 questions, they got to cook the Haitian dinner. So, for the 20 questions, I believe he did a good job of answering the questions, but I also feel like as he was answering the questions, I think he started hearing himself. Sometimes, I say this to my students all the time, they'll go to ask me a question, and then they'll stop halfway through the question. I'll be like, yeah, because when you said it out loud, it didn't make sense, did it? Because there are things you thinking in your head and then you go to say it. So when he started answering questions, and of course, the grandmother was like, my biggest concern is, if he's not saved, then the child won't be saved. And he needs to be saved. And they kept saying be saved. And I'm like, I'm not going to keep arguing that because I don't want a bunch of people in my comment section arguing about religion. I'm not going to argue with you about religion. So if you got a comment, just keep it to yourself. But what I'm saying to you is this. I was offended by the fact that you would say, oh, well, if you're a Catholic, then you're not saved. Like, we don't worship the same God. I ain't going down that road. But she was talking about, but that did come up. And she started basically bringing up to him the difference between her religion and the Catholic religion. And I'm like, but it's God. And that's what he said. He was like, yeah, okay. It may not be. She was like, well, we don't even use the same Bible. Yes, we do. And I was mad that he wasn't in a position to really argue with her about it. Well, not argue, but debate with her about it because we do use the same Bible. I mean, some people use King James, some people don't, whatever, but it's the Bible. Like, it's not like Muslims where it's the Quran or the Jewish faith where they use the Torah. It's the Bible. But anyway, whatever. So and they were talking about being a provider and what the expectation, because that's the other thing her mother said. Well, I know Haitian men and they expect a woman to cook and clean and take care of the kids. And again, you're making assumptions about you are putting the whole culture on this one young man without even talking to him. But then let me rewind that statement, because they've been dating for damn near 10 years. So you know what? Let me rewind. They probably do know more about him than what we got in 3 days. Because it's not like some of these couples where they only been dating a couple of months or whatever. They have been dating a long time. But even with that, though, still, you're going to put the whole, what you know about the Haitian culture on this child. So, now over in the kitchen, the cousins and friends were not having a good experience with Miss Alexis. Miss Alexis is a diva. Miss Alexis is a spoiled brat. Miss Alexis think her shit don't stink. And she thinks that a relationship is supposed to be 80-20. Hell, 90-10. He is supposed to do everything for her. He is supposed to worship her. He is supposed to kiss her ass. And he is supposed to be happy with the pleasure. And that is basically how she came off to the friends. That was her attitude. And when they tried to have a conversation or question her, she got nasty with them. She sort of snapped at them, and it really didn't go anywhere. Like the conversation really didn't go anywhere. And they were honest with her. And I think the nastier she got, or the more snappy she got, they sort of snapped back. But I kind of understand, because it was like, why you're really tripping right now, you know. So the next day they went for their morning counseling session, and she said, things didn't really go too well with his friends last night, because, and she started, here's my problem with people who are so quick to acknowledge their faults but won't change. Then what that says to me is you're doing it on purpose, that you know who you are and you choose to be the person that I'm telling you I have a problem with. Because like she said stuff like, well, maybe I use the fact that I'm an only child as an excuse to be a brat, and maybe I do this and maybe I do that, and I just have to do better, and I just have to trust him, and I just have to, which tells me that y'all have had this conversation before. You know all the right things to say to get him to back down, to get him to chill out for a little while, and then you just wait until the coast is clear and you go back to doing whatever you want to do to begin with. That is my perception. So they end up having dinner that night. They looked like they cooked on the grill. They had some good food. Now, I don't know what they did the rest of the day, because you didn't really see them do anything the rest of the day. I guess they just kind of hung out around the house and whatever. So they were having dinner that night. So the grandmother going to say, well, the first night, this is the other thing that I wanted to throw up, and then I'm done with this religion conversation, I think. So after the grandmother done all this talking about you got to be saved, and my God this, and religion that, and my religion this, and your religion that, they asked her to say the grace. She talking about something, I usually let Jesus tell me who I usually let God speak to me. So she gonna say Alexis. I thought she was gonna try to put Danley on the spot, but she said, Alexis, you can say the grace. I'm waiting for Alexis to be like, Lord, we are truly humbled to come before you. Like, I was waiting for that, that good old Baptist holiness. Like, they never said what they are, but I was waiting for it, right? Why she say the grace that I learned in preschool? God is grace and God is good, and we thank him for our full. So you mean you say the same grace that I learned in Catholic school? All right, whatever then. Okay then. So they have dinner that night, and the conversation came up about her trusting him. And actually, the conversation started with her side of the family sort of talking about her having to trust him, and her having to, the whole password thing. And, I mean, she got in her fifis, honey, and she got nasty, talking about, I want his passwords. And they were like, well, have you ever, caught him cheating on you? Have you ever done anything? No. They brought up the whole, why is it okay for you, but it's not? And her grandmother even said, so what if he wanted, what if he wanted your passwords or whatever? No, because I think he has her passwords. What was it? Oh, the deleting text messages, and she was like, I would kick the door down. No, that wasn't her grandmother. That was still his friends. But her family was really. But it was funny because at this dinner, it seemed like it was everybody against her, because everybody sort of saw like her immaturity and the controlling and the distrust. And the uncle was like, yo, if y'all don't trust each other, like, y'all can't go any further. And honey, she got nasty, and she got to yelling at him and putting her finger in his face, and he snapped back at her. He even cussed a little bit, and I was like, now see, that's gonna get the Reverend Pastor Grandma mad. You can't be cussing that. You can't do that. And and he's out there talking to his friends, and of course his friends is, his friends are saying all the stuff you think his friends are saying. Y'all not ready. I can't believe she talked to you like that. That was disrespectful. Da 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 da. Blah blah blah. So it was a disaster. And then the two of them talked later on that night, and he was like, you know what? I don't even know if we ready to get married. She was like, all right. And she had her little teacup, honey. She was like, all right then. Drinking. He was like, so that's it? You don't even care? You're not gonna try to fight about it? You're not, well, he didn't say fight, but you're not gonna try to convince me or change my mind? Like, that's how you feel? And she was like, well, I do care, but I said, you know what, boo, you better run. Don't walk, run. So they go to the counseling session the next day, and you could tell he is just not there. Like, his whole body, his whole body language, not even what he's saying, but what he's not saying, because he ain't even halfway talking. And she said it. The counselor was like, look, I'm really feeling something here. She was like, and I'm really feeling something from you. You don't have to unpack it right now. You ain't got to get into deeper with me right now. But I'm really feeling like something right here is not right. And y'all really need to evaluate that. You need to go down here to this little blessing ceremony. But y'all really need to figure out if y'all think that y'all are ready, much less the family. So they start with the uncle. Uncle was like, yeah, not so much. I really wasn't feeling it. He was like, I was looking to see if y'all were each other's best friend, and I saw that y'all got some issues and y'all are still working through some things. Then mama was like, I came here with one concern, and after last night, I got a whole nother set of concerns. And before they could, and I want to say, did it get to grandma, honey? Before it got to grandma, Daly said, wait a minute, hold up. We just going to stop this right here. Hold up. I don't think we're ready to get married. And at this point, I'm calling the engagement off. And then he went to go take the ring off her finger. Now that I thought he was going too far. And the uncle said that. The uncle was like, why you got to do all that? Like, we get it. Y'all are not ready. And I could feel it, because I felt the same way. I was like, dang, you being a little... But see, here's where I'm mad at you, Danley. Because you done let this whole situation put a battery in your back. And I think even her family being on your side gave you a real battery in your back. But here's my issue. She ain't get there on her own. You have allowed this behavior. You have accepted this behavior. Because y'all been together for damn near 10 years. Y'all been together for 9 years. And even though you broke up with her, you got back together. And it doesn't seem like she's changed much. Maybe she don't call you 200 times a day. She call you 100 times a day. But clearly, there are still the same issues there. And she even said at dinner, she was like, because I don't trust him. And in the counseling session, she was like, I don't trust men because the way I grew up, I just always feel like men are going to cheat. And if you let up on them, you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. They always going to cheat, and they're not to be trusted. Like, you have some issues that you need to be in therapy about. And I'm wondering, y'all, I ain't trying to go too deep. But I'm wondering if, because if he was your first real boyfriend, then either one or two things went down. Either A, you grew up seeing mama being disrespected and treated any old kind of way by men, or something done happened to you. Now, I ain't putting it on her. I ain't trying to say that, but I'm saying, if that was your first real boyfriend, for you to have such a distrust of men tells me that you grew up around men who wasn't shit. Now, that's just my 2 cents. Then the counselor said, I'm all over the place, y'all, but I'm just trying to throw the stuff out there. The counselor even told him the same thing. The counselor was like, you have to take some responsibility for this behavior, too. Like, you can't put all of it on her because you've allowed it. And she was saying, well, I'm just kind of like my grandmother. And the counselor had to let her know. The counselor was like, yeah, but your grandmother's alone. She was like, and you are trying to be in a relationship and be married. You can't run your life the same way somebody who's single runs their life. It ain't the same. Because I was like, she ain't lying. So then, the counselor had to come down, and Miss McMillan, Dr. McMillan had to come down, and Miss McMillan, I don't think they call her doctor. Miss McMillan had to come down there and say, whoa, hold up. Like, I understand where you're coming from. I understand how you feel. But this is why we're here. You all are not the only ones that get to say we're not, that they're not ready. He gets to say we're not ready. He gets to, now, she said, and I understand how you might feel about him taking the ring. However, The ring is a symbol is a symbol of the engagement. If the engagement is off, it's okay for him to take the ring back and say, because what he was saying was, I'm not breaking up with her. I'm just saying we're not ready to get married. She said, and when they get to a place where they're ready to get married again, then they will have a separate engagement and it'll be different. And so he can re-gift the ring to her at that time when they are ready. Now, with all that being said, honey, because I agree 100%. I said they ain't ready to get married, none of the above. But baby, with all that being said, they still together. They still live together. Because he had changed all his passwords and stuff. She got all the passwords back. So basically, we have done nothing. And that's why I said he let the situation put a battery in his back. He let the family and all that put a battery in his back. Because at the end of the day, you still feel the way you feel. You still want to be with this woman. And maybe you just a glutton for punishment, child. I don't know. But anyway, y'all, that's what it was. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.